So my name is Simon Kauluma. I've been at the Namibian newspaper for the past 3 months. So quite interesting. I've been looking forward to being an intern journalist for some time. I did, however, have lots of trouble with the hard structure of writing a newspaper article. Also, one of the challenges I had was basically getting a response from my sources on time, because it is a deadline-driven industry, and sometimes a source not sending you the information can hold back your article 2 days or even more. I guess not specifically to do with persons with disability, but I did write my first ever article. My first byline was on LGBTQ plus rights, where I attended a press conference, and somebody at the press conference was calling for um, the creation of a party to ensure that people with from the LGBTQ plus community's voices are heard through that party. So it was at the time where the debate was quite heated in the country, and I was happy to get my first byline. Generically, the newsroom being an open plan, if at some point I had doubts about what I was writing, I could always call somebody to basically ask for some insight on the approach. For example, how to quote sources. This are stuff that I did get in the training, but however, in practical terms, I had to basically rely on many of my colleagues to assist me with completing my articles. I'll go back to talking about the same tool I'm talking about, because it's 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 also very ethical. Apart from it being politically correct, it basically gives dignity to somebody. For example, another example is somebody is a wheelchair user. They are not wheelchair bound, because when they decide to sleep, they don't sleep with their wheelchair. So they get off the wheelchair and then they sleep. So somebody is not wheelchair bound, they are a wheelchair user. And it's just a matter of tiny stuff like terminology that actually can basically give somebody uh, who was reporting about issues of marginalized. For example, uh, we don't use the term Bushmen anymore. We use people from the San community. So most of the terminologies used actually have a negative connotation, and just with education. So I'm not putting blame on any media houses or anything. It's just that it is high time people learned how to use the correct terminology, so we can report on people as people and not based on their disabilities or what community they're from. So I've learned. Like, quite happy that I survived 3 months in an intense environment like a newsroom. It's usually not really easy, mostly because what it's a daily newspaper, and the paper needs to go out on a daily basis. So one, I've learned to work on a deadline. I'm not completely perfect yet. Still takes me some time to get my articles together, but yeah, one, I learned how to work with deadlines. Two, I've learned how to be factual, because the moment you write something that's not factual, you're liable to litigation. So I've also learned how to deal with facts and quote sources directly and without. Like I'm a very opinionated person, and there were points where I felt like putting my personal opinion in articles, but I can't do that. It's not allowed. So yeah, those are part of the things I've learned. I think they have all the right to basically participate. One, journalism is a means to voicing those from minority groups, for example, and for somebody from a marginalized community or somebody with a disability, it is possible. It's not rocket science. There is a method to it. It's just, one, you need to be dedicated to what you're doing. Two, you need to be time based, and three, you need to be passionate. Otherwise, you won't actually really like what you're doing.